If there was one piece of advice that I could give you as a woman going through the menopause in your 40s and beyond, it would be this, and that's from a nutritionist. It would be to make sure that you are eating enough protein. Most of the women that I speak to are not consuming enough protein.
Why is, especially for women, getting adequate amounts of protein in the day so important when it comes to insulin resistance?
So one of the things a hormone shift will do is really mess with blood sugar. So as estrogen drops, as progesterone drops, if you're storing any of these hormones, you're seeing a lot of shifts in blood sugar. So your average blood sugar is up. It's not abnormal to the point of being diabetic, but it's definitely up from where you were probably 5 years, 8 years, 10 years ago. The reason protein is so important here is it actually helps to push that blood sugar level down. That's one thing it does. It helps to stabilize the insulin levels. But the other thing that protein will do is it really helps with satiety. It acts like a GLP-1 type medication almost in a way where you're feeling full, you're feeling satiated.
If you're going through the menopause, you may be not eating enough protein.
Perimenopause and menopause, we have a reduced ability to build and maintain muscle mass. Why does that matter? We want to maintain as much muscle as possible because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn just at rest, which is amazing. So we want to preserve that and build as much as possible. However, if you're not having enough protein in your diet, you can't do that. And let's face it, the more muscle you have, the more toned you look, the more fit you look. And if you're burning more calories at rest, it's a lot easier to lose fat.
Right, they've had their say. Now it's time to listen to mine. Now, before I start this conversation, I want to make this perfectly clear that as we get older, protein intake and strength training is a must. Absolute must. I'm always saying this to women on a regular basis. However, the biggest issue I see when I'm working with women, especially when you guys are going through menopause, is stress. You're putting way too much fucking stress on the body. You're in a calorie deficit. You're training every single day. You're relying on protein for energy. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. Now, as we just seen from these people, that when you guys are going through menopause, most of these people on social media will say that you guys are protein deficient. I strongly disagree with this. I believe you women should be eating more fats, especially as you're going through menopause. And not just menopause, puberty and fertility issues also. And we also need to understand that as you guys get older and estrogen and progesterone, these levels are starting to decline. Guys, it's important that we add the macro in that's going to bring your hormones back up the way they should be, back functioning the way they should be. And that is going to be a high fat diet. Okay, it's not going to come from protein, and it's definitely not going to come from fucking carbohydrates. And this is why when you ladies are going through menopause and you're having issues with weight loss, you're having issues when you take your top off and you see that you still have this belly fat and you can't understand why you can't lose the weight and you can't get in the shape that you want, it's because you're constantly focused on the same fucking thing every year, guys. You're just doing these low calorie diets. You're on these high protein diets. This is all causing stress. And if you guys are honest with yourself, you're miserable doing it. How many of you right now are doing this? You're on these low calorie diets, you're in menopause and you hate doing this diet. You can't do it. It's never sustainable. And you know fully well it's only a matter of time before you quit. And if you guys are watching me regularly, I'm always saying that when it comes to these calories, we need to move away from this. This diet culture, we need to move away from this, and we need to start focusing on our hormones. Hormones such as your insulin, your leptin, and especially your cortisol. This is what I'm talking about today, because as I said, this is all causing stress. This is all going to catch up on you guys eventually, and you need to look at it like this. If your hormones are out of whack, I can assure you it's only a matter of time before you guys struggle. So where are we going wrong? It's very, very simple, guys. The information that we're being given is wrong. Okay, I don't give a fuck what these experts tell you. When these experts tell you you need to be on a low-calorie diet, you need to eat more lean sources of protein, you need to add in more fiber, more fruit and veg. Guys, we need to move away from this. What you need to do is you need to be eating more fattier meats. Yes. So the information that we were told for such a long time to avoid, you need to go against this and you need to be adding in more fatty meats. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about if you guys are going after red meat, do not go after the lean sources. Go after sources that have high levels of fat on it. Things like ribeye, tenderloin. If you're getting ground beef, instead of going for 5%, go for the 18%. Now, if we do this and add this with resistance training, ladies, your hormones are going to function absolutely perfectly. Okay, as I said, what's going to do the damage is if you guys do the opposite. You're going into the gym and you're doing all this fucking cardio. This is going to have a direct impact on hunger, and you guys are going to struggle, and more than likely you're going to lose muscle mass. This is not what we want to do. So yes, protein is important, strength training is important, but I can assure you that when it comes to our energy levels, we can rely on two macros. We can rely on fats and we can rely on carbohydrates. And I've said this before, the difference is very, very simple. One is essential and the other one is not. Fat is essential and carbohydrates are not. Okay, so remember, when you want to optimize your hormones, the only macro that's going to allow you guys to do this is going to be fat. Write that down.